So I've been using the Google Pixel 9 Pro for just over a month, putting it through its paces, using it in my day-to-day life, and I think I've finally come to a solid conclusion regarding this device, and I think you might be surprised. So the 9 Pro is a new approach for Google's Pro models because it's much more compact design-wise compared to previous Pros, which were much larger. The phone feels very premium in the hand with the matte glass back and polished metal frame. It's a bit heavier than the 16 Pro. It feels solid, durable, but it actually has a very similar in-hand feel to the 16 Pro. The signature camera bar is very different this year. It has much more rounded edges. I actually really like the change because it doesn't wobble on the table without a case, which can be said for other phones, and because it's not like the old bar, which was a bit dated. The front of the 9 Pro is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2, which Google claims makes it twice as durable as previous Pixel phones, and it's using the new Tensor G4 chip, which is Google's in-house processor, and it's purpose-built to handle AI and machine learning tasks efficiently. As we can see from the benchmarks, which I'll put up on the screen, it's definitely not as fast as some of the competitors like the Apple 18 Pro or the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, but if you're just doing general tasks like, multitasking, social media, browsing, it's pretty good. For gaming and graphic intensive tasks though, again, it's much worse than the 15 Pro, 16 Pro, and the S24. But like I said, if you're just doing everyday tasks, video streaming, multitasking, whatever it might be, it's pretty smooth, unless you're maybe launching a heavy app or processing a large photo. It might take a little bit or lag a bit. But the Tensor G4 is mainly optimized and built for the new Google AI features, and a large chunk of the 16 gigs of RAM is reserved specifically for AI-driven tasks. Google has integrated a much more powerful NPU into this chip, which helps speed up the AI tasks compared to previous generations. So the 9 Pro comes with 16 gigs of RAM, which is good enough for a smartphone like this, and makes sure that the device can handle multiple applications running simultaneously. This is especially important given Google's heavy use of AI, which demands a lot more memory to work smoothly. Storage options range from 128 gigs to 1 terabyte. Base model being 128 gigs, it is a bit low considering the $999 price point, especially in today's day and age. The display is a 6.3-inch OLED Super Actua display, and it's one of the best screens Google has ever put on a smartphone, or anything for that matter. It has a lot of impressive specs and improvements, like an adaptive refresh rate from 1 to 120 Hz, gives the phone a very smooth scrolling and fluidity in animations and launching apps. One of the biggest improvements in the 9 Pro's display is the peak brightness. Google claims the screen can hit up to 3,000 nits, and while the real-world tests aren't exactly the best, it still performs pretty well in bright conditions. It is on paper higher than the 16 Pro and the S24 Plus. So it makes it great for outdoor use and especially using in direct sunlight. One small but nice improvement is the even bezels around the display, which are also thinner than before. It helps the phone give a cleaner and more modern look. Pixels have always looked a bit dated, but this makes it up to par with the Samsung and Apples of the world, and like I mentioned before, it looks a lot similar to the 16 Pro. Another big improvement with the 9 Pro is the introduction of the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. This is a huge upgrade from the optical fingerprint sensors from previous Pixel models. The ultrasonic scanner is much faster, much more reliable, since it uses sound waves instead of light to scan your fingerprint. However, one minor issue is that the sensor requires the always-on display or a notification to be active to use it, unlike Samsung, where you can just click it even when the display is off, and it works. So now let's get into the camera, and while the 9 Pro's camera isn't much different from previous models, it's still one of the best setups on the market. This year, both phones, the 9 Pro and the 9, have the same ultra-wide camera and the same main camera, but the Pro has an extra telephoto lens with 5x zoom. The main cameras haven't changed much quality-wise from the 8 Pro last year, but the ultra-wide camera has a higher resolution of 48 megapixels, which is then processed down to 12 megapixels when you see it in the gallery. The Pixel cameras are always quick and easy to use, and this year is no exception. There's responsive focusing, range of modes to help you get good photos fast, but the photos still do tend to look a little processed because of Google's distinct style. The style makes the photos look good in my opinion, and it's good for sharing on things like social media or sharing with family and friends, but if you want more of a natural look that doesn't embellish some features, you might not want this. The Super Res zoom is also great, allows up to a 30x digital zoom, and Google's computational photography helps enhance the detail. It's one of the best in the market. The front camera has been upgraded to a 42 megapixel, which gives you sharper selfies and better video calls. The AI-powered Add Me feature is really cool. It lets you pretty much insert yourself into a group photo after they've been taken, so you can have 3 people and still get those 3 people in the shot. So speaking of AI, Google is pushing AI really hard this year with the 9 Pro, and some of them are really unique, some of the AI features. So Magic Editor lets you manipulate photos using text prompts and pretty much reimagine them, make creative changes, whatever you want. It's been there for a while, but it's a big improvement this year. Pixel Screenshots helps you organize and search through screenshots using AI to find specific content easily. I found it very useful for taking notes in an article I'm reading, and then if I want to find something specific, I just search for it, and NLP will find that screenshot for those terms or with those exact phrases I was looking for. Gemini, which I mentioned earlier, replaces the old Google Assistant with a more conversational, context-aware assistant. You can ask it follow-up questions, show it images, and interrupt it without causing confusion. I think it's a lot better than Google Assistant, and it's great for almost every task you can think of. But it is a bit limited on some controversial topics like politics, maybe the 2024 US elections. It doesn't really give you good answers. The 4,700 milliamp hour battery gives you pretty solid battery life. The 9 Pro pretty much lasts a full day of heavy usage, including video streaming, browsing, using AI features, and in battery tests it managed to hit 13 hours, which is a significant improvement over previous Pixel models and even beats out the 15 Pro. Charging, however, is one area where the 9 Pro lags behind. It supports 45 watt fast charging, and it's slower compared to the 65 watt or more in some other competitors, and in practice it's about 55 to 60% in 30 minutes, which is decent but not the fastest. One improvement with the 9 Pro is the handling of heat or thermal management. Google has finally integrated a vapor chamber into the phone, which significantly reduces overheating issues seen in previous Pixel models. This keeps the phone cooler during intense activities like video recording 4K, gaming, using AI features for extended periods, whatever it is. And one of the biggest issues I've had on previous Pixel phones has been the overheating, and that's really no longer an issue here. So overall, the Google Pixel 9 Pro is a very powerful smartphone that stands out because of its impressive AI features and capabilities. The hardware, the display, the camera, they're all excellent and huge improvements over last year. And even though the Tensor G4 chip lags behind competitors in raw performance, the overall phone is still on par with its primary competitors like the Samsung and Apples of the world, which I think is the first time you can say that about a Google Pixel phone. So if you're considering picking this up, the base model's 128 gigs for storage is a bit low, especially at $999. So I might recommend getting something else or getting the 9 Pro with the 256 gigs for $1099 if your budget allows it. Anyways, that's it for this review. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.